Greetings, everyone. I'm dedicating this video to a very special man, a very influential man. This person is so important to me, and he does not even know. And now we're talking about my Spanish teacher, Mr. Edwardo Johnson, one of the most influential persons in my young career. This person has caused me to fall in love with poetry. He was our drama teacher, and he took time out of his schedule. This is not a part of the curriculum. This was taught after school in our drama club. This individual, Mr. Johnson, allowed me to travel to different parts of Jamaica to perform. My first experience going to a hotel was because of Mr. Johnson, introducing us to the fine life. And if I am not wrong, I think he's a person that allowed me to go on an airplane the first time. We went on a trip and we got a tour of a plane. And I always believe that wherever I set my foot, it is just a precursor to what is to become later on. And so we went on a trip and we were supposed to go to Kingston, fly from Montego Bay to Kingston, but we didn't eventually get to do. But he introduced that life to me to show that there was something different from the little community where I grew up. And so he also was the one who, taught us how to perform. My first big act in a play called The Tuning of the Organ, where I played the role of Elizabeth, was from his tutelage, from his molding me into thinking outside of that confinement. I'm going to do a poem now that Mr. Johnson taught us. The first time I ever heard about Claude McKay, even though I was attending that school, was from Mr. Johnson. And I'm going to read it to you now. And it's very powerful today. So, as I prepare to do this, please note that someone can be very special to you, even though you haven't seen them or spoken to them for years, as is the case with Mr. Johnson. But I remember him, and I want him to know how important he is to me. If we must die, let it not be like hogs, hunted and penned in an inglorious spot, while round us bark the mad and hungry dogs, making their mock at our accursed lot. If we must die, oh, let us nobly die, so that our precious blood may not be shed in vain. Then even the monsters we defy shall be constrained to honor us, though dead. O kingsmen, we must meet the common foe. Though far outnumbered, let us show us brave, and for their 1,000 blows deal one death blow. What though before us lies the open grave? Like men, we'll face the murderous, cowardly pack, pressed to the wall, dying, but fighting back. Now, Mr. Johnson, if you get to listen to this video, I said the poem the way you told us we were supposed to say it. And of course, the other poem that I love so much is Flame Heart, that I will do another day. So there are people in our community, in our culture, in the educational system who defy the odds and try to teach us more than just the slave story. And for that, I am eternally grateful. Big up yourself, Mr. Johnson, or Eddie, as we affectionately called you. I remember those days when you would take us aside, me and Carla, and treat us like we were people. You didn't treat us like we were just children, because we were still young. We were in grade 7, and you made us feel so special. My Spanish teacher, bless up yourself. I love you, and I always think about you, always remember you. And every time I'm writing a poem, I always think of you. person who introduced me to poetry, to appreciating the arts. Thank you for your time and your dedication as a teacher, for spending so much time with us as kids and made us feel like our thoughts mattered, and introducing us to alternative ways of thinking about who we are as a people. Yes, I dedicate this to you. And I also have a book of poetry on Amazon called Open Flames. And when I was writing that, Mr. Johnson, I was thinking about you, how you created this space for us to express ourselves. And, when I was doing my performance in the tuning of the organ, I remember you said I had to cry for real. And I'm thinking, how is that possible? It's not real. But when you told me to put myself in the space of Elizabeth and imagine someone throwing me out of her house, that became so real for me. And so every time we did that performance, people would say, oh my goodness, you actually cry. I was crying. And I've kind of lived my life that way. I put myself in the shoes of the person whose story I'm telling. This is why I get emotional sometimes. This is why I get very angry sometimes. But I remember that. And so I was able to identify with the character. As I do today, I identify with people. Even if I don't have their experience, I step in their shoes to understand them. I'm not an ordinary citizen. I'm a very special person. And unless people can acknowledge that they're special, then there's not much you can do. And I am grateful for the blessings that are conferred upon me. I'm thankful for the experiences I've had and the beautiful people I've met, those who've done right or wrong. And in this case, I honor one of those individuals who have blessed me and giving me awareness of certain things that I did not know at home or wouldn't have ever had the chance to learn except through his guidance, his love, his teachings. He was such an awesome person. I remember Mr. Johnson very, very well. A very sweet, very kind person. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. It's been years that we have connected. And like I say, I haven't already, because I'm still very, very reserved and still very shy, if you can remember. But it's feel beautiful to know that there's someone that remember me when I was only 12 and 13 years old. That would be Mr. Johnson. Bless up yourself. Share for me, Caroline.